Let's get into our discussion now. Relatives of some of the passengers who were kidnapped from the Kaduna-bound train on Monday say that the terrorists have contacted them to confirm that their relatives are safe with them in the forests. A very disturbed family member whose mother and sister also boarded the train but were kidnapped told TVC News that no demand for ransom has been made by the terrorists so far. Lupe Asom has the story.
A graduate of the University of Maiduguri, Maimuna Ibrahim, was on the Kaduna-bound train from Abuja, which was attacked by bandits a few days ago. She was shot in the thigh and is being treated at the St. Gerard's Hospital.
So we just start hearing gunshots from both sides, from both left and right. Unstoppable shooting. So finally the train had now stopped. When the train stopped, immediately they now off the lights. They entered inside coach 17 and the VIP section. They kidnapped many passengers there, but I don't know how many. So as they were kidnapping them, they were forcing them out of the train, they were flogging them, and they were saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. They were chasing them. And they are young guys. They were within around 18, 19, 20, maybe let's say highest 22.
Her father, who is with her, says she went to Abuja in search of a job and was on her way back when the sad incident happened. He wants the government to provide the job for his daughter.
Nothing I can tell is only that whether government will fit to help on what she's pursuing. Now she's a graduate for 2 to 3 years now. She has no work to do. She went to Abuja for looking a job. When she's coming back, she's returning back. This is what had happened to her.
10 victims who were also admitted at St. Gerard's Hospital in Kaduna have been discharged. Others with severe injuries were referred to the military reference hospital. Meanwhile, the Kaduna-Abuja highway is now the only option for most travelers intending to get to Abuja from Kaduna. Passengers now troop into motor parks. Most of them refuse to speak on camera. But the drivers who ply the road want the government to deploy more security operatives to guarantee travelers' safety.
To tell you the truth, the road is not secure. That is what is happening now. So they need to put more effort in order to secure the road.
You'll be traveling, your heart, you'll be blinking, you'll be afraid of the road. You don't know what you will meet or what is on the road.
Some family members of the kidnapped victims are now panicking. They say the bandits have contacted them, but a demand for ransom has not been made. Military operatives are also intensifying efforts to rescue others who are in captivity. And Kaduna State government has promised to take care of the medical bills of all who are injured. Lupe Asom, TVC News.
That's the foundation of what we'll be talking about. And joining me in the studio is to talk about this, Adini Kunu, Public Affairs Analyst, joins me now. Adini, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good to see you.
Yes.
Great. Now, the last few days has been troubling.
Yes,
not just the last few days, but the last few days has brought to the reality or brought to the fore some of the feelings that Nigerians have had, over the years and so on. Now, one of the drivers who just spoke in that report said that you're driving on the road, you don't know what you're going to see.
Yes.
So you're just praying, you're just hoping. In fact, if you see an innocent person on the road far off, you are agitated, you're triggered, because of the level or the nature of insecurity. Now, talk to us basically. How frustrating can this be? This is Nigeria we're talking about.
I have heard and seen snippets of a book called Audacity of Hope. This is audacity of shame, audacity of humiliation, and in fact, audacity of hopelessness. And I need to say that we live in troubling times. If we look at the place where this is really happening, let me mention here Kaduna. Kaduna is supposed to be the security capital of the country with nothing less than 15 military establishments in that state. It therefore means that if Kaduna is not safe, both of us are not safe. Because if the military capital of the country has been run aground evidently, and the brazen attacks continue to increase by the day, then I tell you, we are not safe. It's just geography that makes us say some people are south and west. It doesn't take those who want to commit crime time to just come and do what they have to do. There was a research I did that was something around last year, 2020, 2021. And I found out that terrorists were recruiting from 3 particular states. Maybe I've mentioned it here before. Sokoto, the city of the Caliphate. It has an attraction because of the religious significance for them. Kogi State because it's the middle. And of course, Lagos. For the records, these 3 places are key places. They may not be doing some of the things that we see in other places because people are too busy with their daily bread and all of that. But Kaduna, there's a statement being made by their actions that will call the shots in this town. Because if they didn't call the shots, they would not have attacked the NDA to begin with. If they don't call the shots, they would not have actually found themselves on the runway of the airport. Now also the train. Don't forget, we've had an attack 5 months before. And let me say this again, Mike. If you talk about areas where properly you should have security presence, airports, seaports, the nation's political offices, maybe the Aso Rock, there are some key military, there are some key places in the country where you expect, an array of military personnel. I saw the videos of the attack, as it were, on the road. I call it an attack, particularly for the Kaduna airport. And I found out that this happens to be a group of organized people that had the backing of some persons who perhaps are yet to be named, shamed, and punished. And they continue to do that. Now, let's look at that of the Abuja-Kaduna train problem. The Minister of Transportation said, it's not as if the money is the problem. Approval was sought for them to actually deal with all of the security issues because the first attack happened 5 months ago where it was so brazen. It therefore means that the president of the country, President Muhammadu Buhari, must first of all take responsibility for it. It's not enough to always summon security chiefs. It was part of our discussion the last time I found myself in this studio. It therefore means that the president, I'm still looking for a statement made after this attack because the president is responsible for this. Don't forget, people would always want us not to call him. No. The man who heads a home takes responsibility because he's supposed to be the protector of the house. So if the president, by extension, has taken it upon himself to be the #1 citizen, then the buck stops at his table. I expected the president to put on a t-shirt, to put on a trousers, and come to the TV to look sorrowful and to say, I'm sorry these attacks are happening. We're doing what we can do. Do not forget that within the time of these attacks, the Minister of Information and Life, Jilai Mohammed, was saying that the country is safer. It shouldn't disrespect people who have lost their lives. This is not politics.
Well, the point there is we've seen in other climes where, for instance, what's going on in Ukraine.
Yes, please.
You will see the president every day.
Yes.
In videos, in T-shirt, talking to the people, standing on the streets sometimes, yes, encouraging the people, empathizing with them, standing with them, galvanizing everyone, and you feel connected to him.
Let me say
just on the video.
When Kenya was attacked by terrorists a couple of years back, Uhuru Kenyatta appeared in a shirt you get just at K2 here for about 500 naira. He looked sorrowful. There is something about the psychology of political communication. And I think people that surrounds the president who perhaps know better, I'm going to name Femi Adesina, I'm going to give Garba Shehu. I've said it many times. It seems as if those who write are not proper advisors to the president on media because the spontaneous reaction to issues, the verbal communication is what they lack. So it's another ball game when you write for people. They're intelligent people by all standards, but they lack the ability to understand what verbal communication is within the office they occupy.
Yeah. So, but I would say, it is possible to advise someone. It's also another thing for the person to abide by your advice.
If a medical doctor gives somebody who has harmed his or her health by continuing to smoke that you have maybe 6 months to live, and you don't listen, the doctor has a right to just withdraw his services. If you want to die, look for another doctor. So for the people who perhaps are giving pieces of advice to the president, and maybe the president feels he knows how to manage that aspect better, they have an option to tender resignation and say, we do not want to be associated with this kind of thing that is not so good because we want this country to work. This country is precious to people like us. We're patriots. Whatever we have become today, such that we're impacting the international community, happen here, even if no government pay my school fees. But I'm saying that if we must have this country function, so that our children will not shame us and name us and ask us questions, we have to do something. Now, Mike, let's talk about terrorism financing. 6 days ago, the U.S. mentioned about 6 Nigerians again that are funneled from Dubai in excess of $800,000 to Nigeria, particularly to Boko Haram. The courts were off. September of 2021, I think March of 2021, the United Arab Emirates talked about trying 400 persons. Nigerians were part of those that is sent to jail. 2 of the 6 people mentioned by the U.S. got life sentences. About 400 that are in this country are yet to be named and shamed. It therefore means a certain persons are
I think the naming and shaming isn't even just
it's
why prosecuted.
No, this is it. Naming and shaming. You shame them when you prosecute them.
Oh, okay.
You shame them when you send them to jail with very tough sentences. It appears to me, Mike, that certain persons are profiting from this. Now, look at the train attacks that has brought us to the point where we're having this conversation. I have some persons that I spoke with separately from what we're in the first place. I have to say here, the numbers are a bit more than what we report. Maybe that is what the people that were there at that point saw. Some other persons that were taken to the hospital probably died, and they've not reported that. But I'm saying that on that train, some people were killed because they called certain persons, maybe in Abuja, that their train has been attacked. When those guys got on that train, some other persons on the train identified those who made the call and they killed them. I'm talking about
this particular incident.
Yes, that means okay. Let's look at the numbers now. We had about 370 officially declared as being those that were on the train or so. We had 970 reported as being on the train. Where did the remaining people get tickets?
Well, it was said that the manifest had about 396.
But what I want to say again is, part of the conversation is even the identities of those on that list is a problem. Now let's look at the people that came to the Kaduna airport. I did a particular investigation in Abuja the last time I traveled. I went to Apo, I went to some areas in Abuja, and I found out that commercial motorcycle riders don't even have they don't have registration. Please, the international community is watching us. The presidency is watching us as I speak. Today, I want them to send people out to Apo, to major areas where, because you can't have your bikes in all parts of Abuja, the areas where you have bikes as commercial means of transportation within Abuja, I'd like them to go check and confirm what I've said, that people are having their motorcycles without proper registration. So if crimes are committed or these bikes are stolen, there is no way you can even begin from who originally owns what. And that is why you see people, for instance, look at the video of those that got on the runway of the Kaduna airport, and they asked the question in the first place, how did these guys get it? I spoke with somebody that was taken away for about 2 months in Kaduna. It comes from Chikun local government. He said it was taken away for about 2 months plus. And I think the parents had to part with 2.5 million. I spoke with him, and he said the terrorists now told them that part of why most of them are doing what they are doing is because they've suffered a lot of castle rustling. They don't have means of survival. That's balderdash. Because for everybody who doesn't have a means of survival, if you resort to crime and criminality, then you do not understand what you're doing.
Yeah,
and I have to say that
because you're living at the expense of somebody else.
So
who is working hard.
Most definitely. So I think that there is a whole lot that first, the people that they are, slow footing on, they have to mention this. I'm saying that if it is possible.
All right. The House of Representatives, they were looking at the possible. What's the way forward? We played this report earlier. Yeah. And they were talking about, you feel the frustration.
It's obvious.
And there's a suggestion that Nigerians should be allowed to carry, arms so that you can defend yourself and all of that. This is not the first time. Some governors had said that before. Some ministers have said that before. In fact, some military heads have said that before. Senators have said that before, and all of that. Is that where we should be going?
The truth is, you don't allow people carry arms without creating, the structure that will train them on what you do with the ammunition. The same way many people were not taught how to manage social media, how to use social media. They only need to get a phone and, of course, get data, and they are good to go. It therefore means that if such ideas are being mooted by people who believe that to a great extent will resolve the problem of insecurity, then you have to first of all create a Nigerian version of the National Rifle Association that you have in the US, so that they tell you you have to take responsibility for this ammunition. These are the triggers that could make you use it. For instance, in the US, we have what is called road rage. I tell you, if people got ammunition here, many of the Varagon bus drivers will not be alive, because some private vehicle owners will have to use their guns anytime they just park indiscriminately and they don't let them move. So whilst that looks good, we are not pretty ready for everybody to use ammunition, because that would also increase the rate of crime. We are really not as civilized as we think. That is one. But I think that government should demonstrate capacity to deal with this. Then I have a challenge here, Mike. When we talk about reformation of people that have an ideology, it is a challenge. It is never on record that fundamentalists really have an ideology you could take away from them by just having them renounce whatever it is that they have been given allegiance to, and at the same time to begin to say we have reformed them. You cannot reform somebody whose ideology has propelled them to kill in 3-6 months and reintegrate such persons. The minimum time for you to actually rehabilitate people that have very deadly and dastardly ideology should take nothing less than 2 years. Because you have to see that mentally or psychologically and physically, they are beginning to see themselves in another light.
As normal people.
At the same time, you have to look at the community where they'll be reintegrated, because you cannot bring people that have killed other person's parents, other person's siblings into the same community and say, go live again. You have to do it both ends. So that is why I also worry. Then I think again, what is the state of origin of these people? Because we have Borno as having a lot of border towns from different parts of the, from towns that are not Nigeria. How do we ascertain that these people are even Nigerians?
Yeah, well, some of those on the train had said that they heard strange languages that may not be Nigerian from the boys.
Do you even know that, if somebody who is not from Nigeria spoke Hausa, the people that have lived there would know that this is not
exactly. This is not our version
this
of
is not
Hausa.
our version.
It's not our version of Fulani and all of that.
That's the truth.
Or a version of Kanuri.
Of Kanuri.
All right, we have to leave it here. Thank you so
sir.
much, Adeni Kunu, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having us. I hope we have solutions to this problem.
That's our prayer. That's our hope.
Thank you.
Every time. Thank you.